That's because he said, not doing that this year. Instead, it's there in the market capital campaign. So that $5 million from DSA then is available for the same things DSA funds every year. All the wonderful ministry of our dioceses and our charities and whatnot. And then also $1 million for the renovations in all of the church. So that leaves 35%. And that 35% of $65 million comes back to the parishes. So $22.8 million is going to be coming directly back to parishes to use as they have determined best. Projects they might want to work on, whatever it may be. So what does that mean for us here? What does our 35% look like? Well, our base parish goal, our portion of that $65 million goal, is $833,925. That's equivalent to our 2015 income, parish income. That's how they figured out what the goal is for each parish. So 35% of that, the money that comes back to us, is $291,893. That's a lot of money. We do a lot of things with that. We were thinking about that. The diocese also said to us, invited us, to think about, are there other things we want to do that might be beyond that just under $300,000? And so we did. We started thinking about that. And I believe I've shared some of this thought with you the last couple of weekends. But there are two things that have been coming up, keep coming up ever since I got here. That you have been sharing with me. Father, when are we going to? Father, we need to. Two things with me and the parish leadership. And so we said, well, let's look at those two things. Let's see if we can do that. The first of them, these opportunities to enhance our parish, is a church gathering space. In other words, to make that gathering space out there bigger, so that it's more, you got more space. Started working on that a number of years ago, but then with the economy downturn and whatnot, we're not able to continue. So, I want to go back and see if we can do that. That particular drawing was one of the drawings from 9-10 years ago, and one of the ideas they were thinking about, but I just grabbed it to show you what we're talking about. You can see in front of the church, that extension in front, creating space. This is a blueprint from that same era. One of the ideas was which we're looking. And I thought I'd grab it just to help you understand what it is we're talking about. So in this particular one, you can see the baptismal font there at the top. And then the bottom is out parking, just the orange there. So what we're talking about is a space that is a larger gathering space. So more people can be in there. We can talk before and after Mass, so on and so forth. It's a space that supports liturgies. The church, in its doctrines about church spaces, talks about gathering space and how it's important that that space supports the parish liturgies. So, for instance, funeral visitations. When we have funerals here, family gathering the hour before. Right now, it's really cramped out there. But it'd be nice to have a larger space in which family can gather and visit and offer support to each other before the funeral liturgy. Same thing with weddings. We have weddings here. The idea of having bridesmaids, having space for the wedding guests as they're arriving. Let's see what else we talk about. Oh, vesting sacristy. That means the sacristy is the place where the priest gets ready before Mass, putting on our vestments. And that it would be out in the gathering space. And then we just move right on in, a chance to see people as they're coming from Mass. It also would be designed in such a way that allows parents, when young children, babies, get agitated, whatever, be able to take them on out, help them calm down, and then come back in, which is where I believe they ought to be. Our children should be here with us during Mass. But when they get fidgety, they have a place to go, calm down, and then come back and be with their family with us. Space should be sacred. Definitely sacred. Needs to be welcoming. It's important that we be a welcoming space. And of course, in order to be welcoming, one of the things that would be important is to have ample suggestions or ideas what that might be. It might be designed in such a way that you can do your fellowship coffee and donuts right out there in that space. Or it might be that that's not big enough, but to have it designed in such a way that there's an easy flow into the space where you do have fellowship. So, looking at those different possibilities. The covered drop-off. I think it'd be wonderful, and I see it on here, if, I'm not talking anything big, but just a simple overhang out there so that during rainy days, whatever, you can pull it up, people can get out, and then you have a driver who's parked the car, and you see umbrella, but the others can get out and stay dry. But to have something simple like that, I think would be welcoming and wonderful. Accessible, also, as part of being welcoming, but also accessible, meaning press plates and the doors and those things, so that folks with walkers and wheelchairs and whatnot can easily get into our church or space. Easy flow. I guess that's me. But what that means is when you come in the doors, it's evident, everything's evident and easy to get to. So as you come in, you can easily see where you go to get to church, get into the church. But it also means it's easy to see where you would get to the hospitality space or into the parish offices, or something else that this has on it is our meeting rooms, to expand our meeting rooms in all these years. So those are a bunch of things there. There's one other thing that makes it a little more challenging, but I think is important, and that is no loss of parking spaces. We're tight in parking as it is, so let's not lose parking. That would be part of my goal. But that being the church gathering space, some food for thought that is put together a number of years ago, recently, looking at that. The second thing that I've been invited to think about doing, and being told Bobby we need to, is parish rectory. New parish rectory. I don't know if you know where our rectory is. It's a couple blocks on over there. That's it. Old gray white house, gray house that's over there. That's where Father Lou and I live. And the Knights of Columbus wonderfully a few years ago helped us by getting, we got a new roof on there, and they got it all painted, and landscaped, and worked on the driveway, so fixed up the outside and whatnot. That's looking good. But it is small. Everybody keeps saying, Father, the other priest reminded me, hey, you got a small rectory in the diocese. But and everybody gets after me about the need a larger rectory. And then Bishop Boyd found out that I live in the basement, and he's not happy about his 6'6" pastor living in the basement. So he's been after me also for change of rectories. So what it would mean, and I've been together with some of our finance council members, parishioners, doing some brainstorming. A home for 2 priests and a workspace. We don't have that at the current time. Be welcoming, accessible. I think that's important. Other than Lou and I can get around just fine right now, but 10, 20 years from now, I don't know how all these things are going to work. So, accessible. Simple. It's important that a rectory be simple, not extravagant, but simple. The location, well, I believe it should not be attached to parish offices. I've done that. It's no fun living in the fishbowl. You want to be able to go home. But relatively close to the parish, so it's easy to walk to and from. Would be ideal. Space is community space. As with any home, kitchen, living room, guest room. It'd be nice to have a prayer room, chapel, those kinds of things. But then also personal living space for each priest. And usually a rectory, that means each priest has a bedroom, sitting room / study, and a full bath. So a little mini space for them. So to have that personal space for us. And it's something that both Father Lou and I miss and really like to have. Garage. No. That. So those are the 2 things. Now, so we said, okay, if we want to do that, so what would it take to make that happen? And we did some testing, project costs and whatnot based on what it was projected to cost 9, 10 years ago, considering inflation, talking to some others to get a rough idea. And they said a project like that, they're thinking $1.7 million. And then the rectory, based on, again, if we're looking at that, considering square footage and what the cost of building square footage is So all that together equals 2.3 million. I said, okay, let's think about that. So we said, what if we had a parish goal of $2.6 million? What would that mean? And again, remember how that 2.6, some is going to the larger church, diocesan parishes, and some to us. So going to the diocesan ministries would be 23%, just over $600,000. Coming here, for our project, the remaining 77% is just under $2 million. You're thinking, well, wait a minute, you just said the projected cost is $2.3 million. That's not 2.3. Well, I'll tell you what, we're blessed. I already have some money in hand from you. From the last time we were working on the building on tradition, that money that was not spent has been kept there. And you've given more money. Our envelopes that says building on tradition. People have given more money, and we've, of course, been building on interest. Not spent any of that, keeping it those projects. So we already have there $580,000. And then, on the rectory side of things, people have not only said to me, Father, we need the rectory, we've been blessed with some gifts to help make that happen. And so we have about $120,000 right now earmarked for the rectory. So, add those things to that, and we've got money for our project, plus a little leeway in case, well, usually you underestimate things. But, so that's where we are. Now, where do we move from here? Well, moving forward, we're going to be forming a building committee, 8 to 12 people in the parish, forming a building committee to help me brainstorm that stuff. But then, in particular, for this campaign, the folks who work with us in the diocese, the company that the diocese has hired, called Greater Mission, they're saying there are ways in which people can help make this happen. One, we'll be forming a witness-told cabinet. So we have a leadership cabinet here in the parish. So we'll be forming that. We also need prayer champions, people who will be praying. We need folks who can help host gatherings in their homes, where we come and we learn about the project. And we'll be beginning in July, something like that. Throughout the diocese, some parishes have already done this, some are doing it right now. We'll be beginning in July. We'll probably see more activity beginning of the autumn time. But so we'll be having some gatherings in our homes. They say a hospitality team, people can help set up and host things here in the parish. And advocates. Advocate is somebody who would be calling us to remind us about the gathering. They make a point of saying to us that no parish member will ask another parish member for a donation to participate. These are calls to come to the events, learn more about it, and prayerfully discern what we're going to do. So, that's what's happening. Now today I need from you to know what do you think? What do you think? We've had some folks have met with the folks from Greater Mission. We've had 2 town hall meetings, which has had this plus other information. I tried to take an hour and a half to bring it down to 20 minutes. But I need to know what you think. So, I'd like to ask you to please join in our feasibility study survey in your pews, in the pews. There's this blank card. You can grab that and look at it. Looking for one per household to let us know. This is, when you look at this is to let us know, to give us an idea. This is not a commitment that's being made. This is to give us an idea of what you think. So as you look at it, you'll see that we're asking, are you in favor of this proposed case? Do you think our parish can raise that amount of money? If the parish conducts the campaign, will you support it financially? And remember, it's a 3 to 5 year pledge. And then they give some ideas. We're trying to get an idea of what we might be willing to do to support this, the kind of pledges we're making for that 3 to 5 years. And you see it ranges anywhere from $50,000 to less than $1,500. Now, where are you in that range? Now, let me point out to you, it starts at 50 plot. If we're going to make 2.6, they said we need gifts at the level of 250,000, 100,000. We need some of those too. So if you're blessed in such a way, please don't limit yourself to 50,000. If you've got the resources, and some of us do, it would be wonderful. This is already filled it out, you were someone in your house